Alright, so final part of the build series. This will be the final assembly. Show you the electronics we're rocking with here. So we have the Spectrum SR201 27 turn brushed axial motor. I had that kicking around, so that's why I threw it in. And a spare FXR Pro that I had laying around. Actually, sorry, this is just an FXR. And we're going to be going with my high-tech 645 MG. I think that's what it was. Alright, so I'm going to start out with the motor. Line that up, get her pinion mounted. Thread lock and everything as always. Last thing you want is that pinion to slide. It's a pain to get at, and it sucks if it happens on the trails because ultimately it's preventable. Okay, so 2 screws, motor secure. Make sure we got a good fit. Alright, and now onto the servo. So 4 screws are going to secure that. And we'll tie it all up with the linkage a little bit later. First things first, start peeling back these wires here. Unsolder that, and then we'll be ready to solder directly to the ESC. Alright. Here's our ESC. Clip the ends here. I always pre-tin the wire, makes a world of a difference when you're soldering. Alright, there we go. Connect everything up to our receiver. Power on, ready to bind. That way we'll be able to center the servo before we tie it all up, and that's why I held out to the a little bit later before I decided to do that. Alright, so remove the servo horn. It was a pain to wiggle off, but we did. Now we're going to mount that to the steering wheel and reinstall. I'd like to apologize for the stuffiness. It might sound a little strange, but I am fighting allergies. I don't know. I'm thinking it's allergies, probably cold. Alright, so just trying to figure out our placement, which is a pain. First things first, though, we're going to balloon everything up so we're waterproofed. I just wanted to hit the trail as soon as possible, so I'm going to do the plastic dip to the ESC afterwards. For now, balloon will be fine. Same thing to the receiver. 1 zip tie, and that's it. Alright, so here I tried to figure out how to mount the electronics. I went and built or cut out a piece of plastic here to get the ESC and receiver mounted. I left it in here just to show. Hopefully no one else does the same mistake. I'm accustomed to all these axial kits. They have Lexan bodies with tons of room. So I figured we'd be good here. But unfortunately, no, we're having issues with placement, or not enough room anyways. Alright, so to zip tie everything here. Ultimately, I would have to cut it out afterwards to replace the electronics, or relocate the electronics. That's what I was looking for. It would have been nice and clean if I could have got it set up there. Very secure, use zip ties all the way around. Nothing was going nowhere, but they're missing a couple mil of clearance where the lower piece of the interior of that body is rubbing. You'll see that in a second there. The main reason around this is I was lazy. I didn't want to have to solder longer term or leads to the motor. And that's why I put it halfway through, because it wasn't reaching to the back of the electronics bay, because it's quite far. It's right by the rear axle. Alright, so I mounted it right there. I thought it would have been a perfect spot, but it's a no-go with the body. Wasn't even coming close. It wasn't happening. So what I did here is I threw it in back, routed all the cabling, zip tied everything. So now we're nice, clean, and solid. Room for everything. So we're done. Just gonna throw the body on. Luckily for myself, I'm running quite large batteries in there, so I'm going to be running 5,000, 4,000 mAh, so I shouldn't have to replace them too often. But if you had to swap batteries on the trail, it would be tedious. There's no body pins here. I guess that's where you lose some of the realism when you use those Lexan bodies. But there's an ease behind it. Alright, so here's the finished kit. No more of the build series. Next one we're going to be showcasing is the first run. So I love the look of that. The only downfall is that front windshield. I'll show you a little update of that later on. I ended up fixing it. I couldn't figure out what it was going on. It looked strange. And in the manual, they didn't tell me to paint it. But what I did is I masked off the window part and painted everything else on that on the plastic piece. So that way it doesn't look so awkward and doesn't stand out like that. But other than that, kit looks great. Need some bigger tires, that's for sure. But guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for following the build series, and should have some trails footage soon. So please thumbs up and subscribe.